Hi, welcome back. It's Kelly, and we're working through step 4 today. So, what is step 4? Step 4 is care for self or self care. So, I'm sure most of you, if not everyone, has heard of self care before. Um, but what comes to mind when you think of self care? So, it's not just bubble baths and Epsom salts, right? It's about accepting this pain that we're going through, accepting where we are right now. What does that mean? And how can we wrap our head around that? Well, really, we don't have a choice because here we are. This is what we're dealing with. And again, we didn't do anything to deserve it. It's not our fault. It's just the way it is. So that radical acceptance that we are in pain, this is painful, it's unfair, but it's what we have to work with. So, accepting pain, that's one way to look at it. I remember when uh, I came across Buddhism in university when we were studying different types of spiritual and religious practices, and the tagline was something like, life is suffering. And I remember thinking, oy, who would want to practice Buddhism if its life is suffering? But I've come to understand a deeper meaning of that. Life is suffering, meaning bad things happen to good people. Things are out of our control. We are going to have these uncomfortable and painful experiences. And then what? What do we do with those? Do we let them define us and keep us in pain and keep us bitter? Or do we take that and go, what can I do with this? Is there any chance we could, there's a term for it called post-traumatic growth. So what can I do with this? How can I grow with this? What can I use? How can I use this as a stepping stone? And it's okay if that's not really clear right now because of all of these emotions and all of this overwhelm and all of this pain. But if you keep that in the back of your mind, just radical acceptance, it is what it is. I can't change it. I can only I only have control of how I respond to it. And how do I choose to respond to this? Okay. And trust your journey. So we look at other people and we compare, and it's harmful. It's not helpful. Everybody has their stuff. So we just have to trust and have that faith that things are going to work out, that something will come from this, that you'll get through it. You won't feel like this forever. There's another side of this. This is temporary. This too shall pass. Trust your journey. Challenge your thoughts. What does that mean? So there is a type of therapy called cognitive behavioral therapy, and that's where we recognize that our thoughts determine our feelings, which determine our behaviors. So if our thought is, this is the worst, it's never going to get any better, our feelings are hopelessness and defeat, and then our behaviors align with that. So we don't take the steps maybe we need to push along our own healing, right? We stay stuck in that moment, in that pain. So if we can, our feelings aren't right or wrong, they're just ours. So if we can accept that, I feel bad, I feel overwhelmed, I feel hurt, I feel in pain, I feel all of these things, but is there another way I can look at this? And that's kind of, putting that positive spin, or it will get better. Just thinking that piece, this isn't going to last, it will get better. Automatically the feelings change from hopeless to hopeful. And then our behaviors are, we're going to do our work through recovery, right? We're going to take the steps that we need: self-care, self-acceptance, self-love. Okay, so continue to challenge your negative or anxious thoughts. Is there another way to look at this? Is there another way that will help challenge my mindset, which in turn is going to change the way I feel about it, which in turn is going to change my behaviors around it? Okay, and this really helped me. Worry never fixed anything. So when we worry about what will our partners do next, are they acting out? Are they doing this, that, and the other? No matter how much you worry, it doesn't fix it. It doesn't change it. If they're going to act out, they're going to act out. We have no control over this. So worrying gives us the illusion of control, of protection, that we're protecting ourselves from this kind of hurt again, that it's not going to hit us out of nowhere. We're going to somehow be prepared. But does it? But does it? Does it stop the pain? Does it change anything for you? It doesn't fix anything. And what really helps me get through is worry steals joy. Worry steals joy. So when I catch myself ruminating or worrying about these thoughts, whatever they may be, right? Is he acting out? What is he doing? Right away, I'm like, worry never fixed anything. Is this helping? Is this preventing it? Is this going to stop me from getting hurt? And that gives me some time to put it down for a little bit. It's a process, so it's not going to be perfect off the hop that as soon as you catch that thought, you put it down and easy peasy. But it does get better. And this is the work we do, right? To continually try and accept that what we're going through is what we're going through. And we can't wish it away. And that trust that it's going to work out. Challenge the negative thoughts. You are strong enough. You will get through this. And remember that worry never fixed anything, and worry steals joy. It steals us, stops us from living in the moment. Okay. And then what is self-care? It's anything and everything that you need to do to care for yourself. So that is getting enough sleep. I'm trying. I understand there's sleep disturbances, right? We went through that for sure. But this is all, it's not about perfection. It's just about progress. So you're not going to do any of these things perfectly. You just got to put the effort in and keep going, keep trying, keep pushing towards healing for yourself. Okay, love yourself enough to want this for you. Love yourself enough to do the work that you need to do to get better. And he has to do the work for himself to get better. That's his own separate journey. So what is self-care? Getting enough sleep, feeding yourself some comforting, healthy meals. If you need to order in for a night just to get through the night, that looks like self-care. Okay, so get rid of the guilt or the shame that may be associated with that. If it's sending your kids to go see grandma for the night so you can just get through the night, so be it. So be it. Okay, so whatever feels good for you, whatever you need to do to help you get through this moment and the next moment and the next moment and the next moment. Okay, build resiliency. All of these things are going to help to build resiliency. And what does it mean by resiliency? Strength. Strength that's going to give you the power and the motivation to keep going. On this next slide, we talk a bit more about how to build resiliency. So with this, step 4, there is a self-care worksheet that you can print or download for yourself with some ideas of how to care for self, okay? And a space for you to figure out what works for you, because for everybody it's different. We all have our different ideas of self-care and our self-care plans, but we need to figure out what works, what helps us feel rejuvenated, what helps us to keep going, and then actually do it, implement it. Okay, so this next slide on how to build resiliency using the biopsychosocial model, so otherwise known as the wheel of life. So we have all these different parts to it. So if you look at this, it looks like a tire on, say, a car. And if that tire is full of air and is in good shape, it's going to run smoothly, right? It's going to drive on down the road nice and smooth. If that tire is missing some air in a portion or there's a nail in it, it's going to be a bit of a bumpier road. And if there's some air, a lot of air missing, or a couple nails in different parts of this tire, it's either not going to move at all, or it's going to be a really bumpy, uncomfortable ride. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about these different areas of our life. So, our emotional health, our physical health, our spiritual health, our financial health, family health, social health, and so on. Right now, when you're dealing with betrayal trauma and dealing with your partner, your spouse's addiction to sex, um, for sure, there's some emotional air lost, right? This part of your wheel is not functioning properly. But what else isn't? Okay, physically, when you're this distraught, are you taking care of yourself physically? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you exercising? Probably not, right? Because all of our energy is going towards this. Spiritually, are you in touch with who you are in this world and where you want to go? Probably not, because our sense of self is just shattered and shaken and thrown up in the air, and we no longer know who we are. Um, finances may be very damaged depending on how your partner's acting out. So, what does your financial situation look like? Your family life isn't going to be functioning properly because of all this pain and this turmoil and this trauma. And your social life, well, usually we're either not socializing because we're, you know, isolating, isolating just to heal, just to get by, just to try and process through all these emotions. So understand that because of this emotional impact that this is having on you, that all these other areas are going to be impacted automatically as well. So that's why it feels so life crushing, so life destroying. So it's like your life was just taken and thrown up in the air, and it's fallen all over the place. So what do we do with this? What do we do now that this has happened? Well, know that if we pick an area of this wheel and we put a little bit of attention to it, automatically it's going to feel better across the board. It's going to feel a bit better. So if we can, you know, get that counseling, go through this, try and work through the emotional turmoil. Physical, if we can talk to the doctor and get a sleep aid if we need it, or practice proper sleep hygiene, like going to bed on time, preparing our bodies for rest, not having the caffeine late in the evening, or on any blue screens, right? TV, internet, phones. If we can get back in touch with who we are as people outside of this relationship, outside of being a parent or a wife, who are we? It's going to help put the rest of things in perspective. So, accompanied with this is your own worksheet, the life wheel. So, there's some ideas. You've gotten one idea in each section, and you can fill it out from there. A couple ideas of what you can do, small steps, what you can do to kind of feel more balanced, to kind of feel a bit more in control, to kind of help with that emotional regulation. Okay, so if we just put a little bit of attention to these different areas that we do have a bit of control over right now, it's going to feel better across the board. Okay, so that's it for step 4 in self-care, and hang in there. It does get better.